What's up, everybody? My name is Dell. This is Dell on Movies. Thank you for hanging out with me. If you've been here before, thanks for hanging out with me again. And I have got a challenge today. I've been issued a challenge, I should say. Huck over at Huck's Pop Culture Cafe, he did a video a few days ago where he issued a challenge to all us Bluetubers to pick one movie from each letter of the alphabet plus a number. And he gave us a couple of rules to go with that. I thought I'd accept the challenge. One of the rules to go with that, though, is you're allowed 5 cheats. So for instance, for him, I believe it was Terminator was one of the cheats. Instead of just picking the Terminator, he got his box sets that had all of the movies. And if it wasn't you, Huck, that picked the Terminator, I apologize. I know somebody did, but they picked the whole box set that has the Terminator in it, and that constituted cheats because it's more than one movie. Well, he said you're allowed 5. I have 4 that I'm going to use, but there's some caveats and we'll get into it. A couple other people that I watch have done the challenge aside from Huck. There's Ken at Mid-Level Media, there's KB at KB Loves Movies, David at the 4K Lowdown. They've all done the challenge already that I've seen, so I will have links to their videos in the description. If you did a video like this and I missed it, I apologize to you, but definitely let me know that you've done it, and so I can go check out yours. But let's go ahead and get into it. So of course we're going to start with the number. And for me, the number was pretty easy. I mean, there's a lot of recent movies out there that have numbers, but the choice was pretty easy for me, going with my particular taste, and that is the 36th Chamber of Shaolin, one of my all-time favorite martial arts movies. I got a chance to see this recently on a big screen, thanks to Chris from Black Kung Fu Cinema on Instagram. I think that's the full title of it. I'll look that up and I'll leave that in the description. Also, he put on an exhibition with that and Five Deadly Venoms, another movie I could have put, but that's one of my favorites of all time, so I definitely had to go with that. For A, I had to go into my comedies, and for this one of my all-time favorite comedies is Airplane. I'm a guy that is really into parodies and spoofs if they're well done, and this is one of the best, if not the best of all time, so I had to go with Airplane. For B is where we're going to get one of my caveats. So I'm not going to call it an outright cheat, because if I'm going on this desert island, just me, and I've got all these movies, then I'm going to go for B. I'm going to go with Boys in the Hood. Again, this is John Singleton's debut. Great movie. I'm not going to tell you anything about it. I've talked about it before. I'll probably talk about it again. But the caveat here is that if I go with my daughter, my youngest daughter, I would have to go ahead and take the Back to the Future box set with all 3 steelbooks in there, because this is her favorite set of movies, and one of mine too, so we definitely love watching these movies together. So that would be one of my caveats. To the letter C, I had a lot of picks that I was looking at, but none of them came close to this one, and this is the movie I watch every year during the holiday time, and that is A Christmas Story. So this is, for me, hands down the #1 holiday movie of all time. I know there's some people out there lately that's been starting to hate on this movie. I don't care. This is my favorite. Leave me alone. D, this was a big conflict for me because I wanted to get a superhero flick in here, and I don't think I have one. I'll go through them, but I don't think I have a superhero movie in here at all, even though I'm a big superhero fan. But I couldn't leave this movie off because it is my all-time favorite movie, so it's definitely not a superhero movie though, and that is Do the Right Thing. Moving on to E. E is where I'm gonna get one of my cheats in. So if I went with the individual movie, that movie would be Enter the Dragon. So guys, I've been watching this movie literally all my life. I went to, this is like my first theater experience. I was a little bitty kid, and I've seen this movie probably more than most of you guys have changed underwear in your life, I swear. But here's where the cheat comes in, is why just take Enter the Dragon when I can just go right over here and grab this guy and get 5 Bruce Lee movies instead of just 1. So this is the Criterion box set, and it's got all 5 of the movies that Bruce Lee made during, or all 5 of the martial arts movies that he made after he became an adult. So couldn't go without the Bruce Lee movies. For the letter F is where I get another one of my caveats, guys. If anyone in my family is going with me, anyone, not just my daughter, but if anyone in my family is going with me, I'm gonna have to take Friday. It's a family favorite around here. We all love this movie, and it just wouldn't be right if I didn't take it. But if I'm going by myself, I'm not gonna take that Friday. I'm gonna take this Friday as my cheat, and this is the Friday the 13th box set with all the Friday the 13th movies on there. So I've got to have these with me. These more movies I grew up with. So no doubt about it that this would be my choice if I was going by myself. If they were coming with me, I'd sacrifice it, bite the bullet, and go ahead and take Friday. And that's not a bad thing. I still love that movie. Just not the one that I would pick by myself. For the letter G, this is one of the most recent movies on this list, and that is Jordan Peele's directorial debut, Get Out. So of course had to get a horror movie in here, and this is one of the best ones of the last decade. Moving on to H, if you know anything about me, you know that I'm a big hip-hop fan all my life, and this is one of the best hip-hop movies ever made, and one of the most fun movies ever made, period, and that is House Party. And that takes me to I. Now there's a good bit of hip-hop in this, because every hero has a theme song, and if you hear that, you know what movie I'm talking about if you've seen the movie. But if you haven't, the movie is I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. It's another parody, another spoof, this one of blaxploitation. Yes, the blockbuster sticker's still on there. I gotta get that off. That brings us to the letter J, and this is the movie that made Tupac a movie star, not just a rapper, and helped cross him over into a whole lot of different areas, and he always stayed true to himself. But this is his role as Bishop in Juice. Had to go with that one. And the hip-hop theme continues because the letter K is a movie that came out years before Juice, and is based around the Def Jam legacy. Very fictionalized version of it, but this is Crush Groove. Last week, the wife and I celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. If you missed that video, we did a video. She came on the channel. We talked about our top 10 romantic movies. If you missed it, I will link that video also in the description. And we talked about this movie that's coming up for the letter L for me, and that is Love and Basketball. So I won't say anything more about that one. Now the letter M is where it got really interesting for me. I had 2 movies that are like they're neck and neck. I could have picked either one. The one I didn't pick was Malcolm X, and for me that is Denzel's best performance, where he's playing the slain civil rights leader, and he was amazing in that. Should have gotten an Oscar for that. Didn't get it. Didn't go with that one though. I went with this movie, which is my favorite sci-fi movie of all time, and that is The Matrix. Could have used a cheat here and went with the whole trilogy or quadrilogy. Now it's 4 movies, but this one stands alone as the far and away the best of the bunch, and it works as a standalone movie. So I didn't feel a need for that one, but The Matrix is my pick for M. For the letter N, I went back to comedy. Every now and again, you just gotta have something dumb to laugh at, and this is one of my favorite dumb movies to laugh at. I know this one gets a lot of hate also, but every time I turn it on, it just makes me laugh. It makes me giggle from beginning to end. And again, some of you are gonna roll your eyes at it, and some of you are just gonna nod in agreement. I don't care either way. It's Napoleon Dynamite. Moving to the letter O, this is where I have another one of my cheats. So the movie itself, the one that I'm most wanting to take with me would be this one right here, Old Boy, Korean movie from director Park Chan-wook. Amazing movie. But why just take that one when I can take the entire trilogy that it's a part of? It's the Vengeance trilogy. So I got this nice set here from Arrow. So I would definitely just go ahead and take that whole set. That'd be one of my cheats. For the letter P, we had a few options going, but there was really only one clear choice, and that is my favorite Tarantino movie. That is Pulp Fiction. Just watched this recently. Definitely still holds up as my favorite Tarantino movie. For the letter Q, could have went a couple of different ways. Of course, there's A Quiet Place. A lot of people picking The Quiet Place that I've seen in these videos. And then there's The Quick and the Dead. There's a great Western that I love. But the movie that I would go with would be another recent pick, and that is Queen and Slim. It it kind of makes you think of Bonnie and Clyde, but there's something different going on here. There's a lot more going on. I wouldn't say more, just different in terms of what it's trying to say. Both movies are trying to say a lot, but this one is a little more current, a little more my speed. Even though I do love Bonnie and Clyde too, but Queen and Slim would be my pick for Q. For R would be the next cheat that I have, and for the letter R, it's a cheat because there was really no other choice even close for me. It's just a matter of whether I wanted to take one or both movies, and that is the Raid collection. The Raid Redemption is the first one, and then of course the Raid 2. These have some of the greatest fighting scenes ever put to film. Just take a look at it. If you haven't seen these movies, just go look at these movies if you're at all interested in any martial arts flicks. Be advised though, they're not for those squeamish, because they get pretty rough. For the letter S, I had to go with my very favorite horror flick of all time. No questions asked, hands down, and that is the original Scream. Now I'll reserve a cheat for this one because I don't have a box set of this one. I do have all the movies, but I'm kind of reserving it for when there is a real legit box set with all of the movies in it. Hopefully we'll get one of these days. I know there's another Scream coming out, and let me know in the comments what is it called? Is it going to be Scream 6? Is it Scream 2? Scream 2-2? I don't know what the title is of this new Scream movie. But anyway, the original Scream, my favorite horror movie of all time, so that definitely would go on the trip with me. And the letter T will give me the last of my cheats. And I'm going to call this a super cheat because there's no box set for this one that I have anyway. But it is a set of 4 steelbooks that I got all together, all at once, all for a cheap price a couple of years ago. And all 4 movies, yes, the 4th movie too, they're all great. And I know a lot of people don't like the 4th movie. And usually when you ask them why they don't like the 4th movie, it's because the 3rd movie was so great. It's not that the 4th movie is bad at all. They just don't like the 4th movie just because it exists. I think that's nonsense. And the movie, the franchise is the Toy Story franchise. So I would definitely have to grab Toy Story and Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3 and finally Toy Story 4, which is a terrible looking steelbook compared to the rest, but I would definitely take them. And if it's not allowed, I'll just find a box and shove them all in there at once. But I definitely would take the Toy Story movies because I don't have any other kids movies, not that I'm a kid, but any other animated movies. I do like animated movies, and that's some of the best right there. The letter U, definitely not animated, definitely way more on the serious side, and that is The Untouchables. Did have a couple of other choices that I could have went with here. The Usual Suspects was one that came to mind. Then that one was pretty close, but this one won out. Moving to the letter V, where I could have put the Vengeance trilogy, but I didn't. Stuck it with under Old Boy, and that was so I can get on this movie, and that's Videodrome. Videodrome is a movie that is sadly still relevant. All you have to do is just update the technology in the movie just a little bit, but the story exactly as it is, really relevant to today. So if you haven't seen Videodrome, go check it out. For the letter W is another one of those movies that I grew up with. Just been watching it ever since it came out. I saw it like on late night, the late movie back on ABC back in the early 80s. I might even saw it, probably the year after it came out because it didn't get the TV that fast. And of course I bought it once I started collecting movies. Been watching it like almost every year since. I've usually watched it at least once, and that one is The Warriors. For X, it was not a lot of choices for X, but the recent horror movie that's just called X was my other choice. I didn't quite pick that one, but I stuck with a movie that's stood the test of time a little bit more. And here, I'm sorry, here is I do have a superhero movie, so this is where the superheroes come in, and this is the best of that franchise for me, and that is X2, or X-Men United. So I went with this one over the original X-Men. I always like this movie a little better. Why? We get back to those parodies that I love. This is another great one. This was Mel Brooks. Gene Wilder in the starring role is phenomenal, and that is Young Frankenstein, or Frankenstein. If you've seen the movie, you know what that's all about. If you like spoofs at all, check this one out. If you like the original Frankenstein from 1931, check this out also. And if you don't mind, of course, that movie being made fun of. And finally, we get to Z. And for Z, this I want to say this is the most recent movie of the group. I almost went with Zombieland, which you can't see, but it's sitting right over here. But instead, I went with a movie that is again a lot more recent and even more relevant to what's happening to today, and that is Zola. It is a pretty underrated movie that I really enjoyed from a couple years ago. These two young ladies give phenomenal performances in the lead roles. They're quite almost co-leads in the movies. Riley Keough and Taylor Page, both great. Coleman Domingo in the supporting role is also great, but he's always great. So if you haven't seen Zola, check it out. The whole movie, if you're not familiar with it, was made from a Twitter thread about a weekend that the person who wrote the thread had, and then shared with her timeline. And so as far as we know, it's a true story, and it is just the craziest thing ever. But there you have it for me. Those are all the movies that I would take from each letter of the alphabet, plus that number, a couple of cheats in there. If any other YouTubers out there want to take this challenge, please do. Let me know that you made the video, tag me on Instagram, or just reach out to me however you can, and I definitely want to see those videos. So like, comment, subscribe. Let's tell me what you think of my picks. Am I crazy, or did I make some good choices? You know, I'd love to have a conversation with you guys, but that's all I have for now. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.